It's been the best time to be a TMNT fan lately. We got the last Ronin comic popping off recently, and we also got the rise of the TMNT getting that new movie on Netflix, and most importantly to me, we got a game recently that doesn't feature the turtles being guest characters, and more importantly, isn't trash. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Your time is coming. That game is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which is developed by Tribute Games but published by DotEmu, who we talked about a couple of times on the channel before when I talked about the Streets of Rage game and the DLC. Much like that game, it's a beat 'em up inspired by the olden days of the arcades, inspired by the 80s cartoon and the beloved Turtles in Time game. I was ridiculously excited for this game, and the same way they did with Streets of Rage, they hit us with a double whammy when they dropped a really good looking trailer on us that announced that the game was coming out a week away from that trailer. Naturally, the TMNT fandom lost their collective mind on the internet over the last few months, and it's just been turtle fever on YouTube, Twitter, anywhere you could think that's talking about it. And I was enjoying the game so much that I totally forgot to make a video about it, so I'm gonna do that now. But I already went ahead and told you that this game is pretty good, but what makes it good, right? So we're gonna get ready to get into that, and today I'm gonna be taking a look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge.
Hey, yo, Giant, let's go!
The game doesn't really concern itself with telling a complicated plot, as I can tell you right away that this is a 2-hour game. The setup is that the Foot Clan take over the Channel 6 news building and announce that, once again, they're gonna mess with the Statue of Liberty just like they did in Turtles in Time. This is clearly meant as a challenge to the Turtles, cause, you know, Shredder's Revenge. So the Turtles head into a journey through New York and beyond to stop Shredder, Krang, and a whole list of series regulars from the cartoon days and beyond in a quest to stop Shredder from getting his revenge on the team. Shredder's Revenge takes place across 16 stages, each a few minutes long with a boss fight at the end. After each level, there's a one-screen mini cutscene that pushes you along to the next stage until you make it to the final fight. No beat 'em up pun intended. It's simple, like the plots of many classic beat 'em ups, and uses that as a springboard to pay homage to not just the Turtles games of the past, but many other beat 'em ups and fighting games alike. I don't know how familiar everyone else is with Tribute Games, so for the sake of discussion, they were founded by some former Ubisoft devs that worked on Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, and have done a few indie games here and there. I personally know them for Mercenary Kings, which I played way back on PS4 as a PS Plus freebie, but they put that retro beat 'em up expertise to good use here. There's so much to love in this game. You have attacks and special moves, dodge rolls, you can attack from dodge rolls, you can attack out of your run animations, you can juggle, you can wall juggle, you can taunt to recover special meter, the list goes on. It's like every fine-tuned top-tier mechanic from other modern beat-em-ups was sprinkled into this package, because the controls are so tight. Largely, you have everything you'll need off the bat, but like in Scott Pilgrim, your characters level up with use and can unlock new special moves as well as more lives and special meters and so on and so forth. Speaking of characters, not only do you get the 4 turtles, you get Master Splinter and April O'Neil along for the ride, and beating the game unlocks Casey Jones for a total of 7 playable characters. That's a really good number for a beat-em-up's initial roster, and even more so when you get into some multiplayer, because this game features 6-player co-op, as I'm sure you noticed by now with the footage. That applies to local and online co-op, something I was so desperate for when I played Streets of Rage 4. The drop-in and drop-out nature of the multiplayer makes it easy to keep a session going if anyone can't stick around. That's very useful too, because the online play can get a bit spotty when you have a lot of players. It wasn't uncommon for 1 player minimum to start glitching out, freezing, or straight up disconnecting during a game. Therefore, it's great to see it being usually pretty easy to get a player back into it and keep going. It's not perfect, but man, am I just glad to have the option. It gets pretty chaotic, and I love that, because in my multiplayer sessions, not one person was having a bad time. I guess one could say that that distracts from the otherwise repetitive nature of the game, but it's a beat 'em up, come on, that's par for the course. And the multiplayer is the best part about this game, especially since it's pretty easy to join in on random games if you don't have enough friends for a full session. There's also a more classic arcade mode that offers a better challenge in the way of no continues and a harder difficulty overall. If you want to test yourself, the brief runtime of the game is perfect for this, and you'll be hard pressed to find anybody too far behind in this game, and conversely, to find somebody who wouldn't mind playing it back to help others catch up. That's honestly helped by the game's brevity, because it's honestly got a perfect sense of replayability. But that's not just because it's fun to play. This game strikes a perfect balance of retro and modern. It uses pixel graphics with an astounding level of animation. So much so that the devs have said that DLC costumes could happen, but it was impossible at launch because of the level of animation work put into this game, which I respect because what we got is honestly too good for us mortal folk. Every character has entirely unique animations, with many of their moves being references to assorted fighting games, while some of their special taunts and win poses reference the 80s cartoon intro and more. This game stands for those who spent their days watching the old cartoon, those who sank endless quarters on beat-em-ups and fighting games in the arcades, and most obviously, those who just love the Turtles in general because the references don't just stop at the cartoon. Hell, there's an achievement called Who Needs a Doc for beating Super Shredder without getting hit, which is a reference to the end of the Secret of the Ooze movie where Super Shredder was offed by a collapsing dock. Even the second stage, Big Apple 3 PM, is a reference to the Turtles in Times' Big Apple 3 AM. If all of that wasn't enough, they even brought back the voice actors from the cartoon. Although it's sad knowing that James Avery would never have been able to reprise his role as Shredder. The cherry on top is the music, with the soundtrack being handled by Lopes. I swear I can't talk about this man enough. But also along for the ride are some other talents you might have seen on the internet, like Johnny Atma, otherwise known as Game Metal, shredding on guitar and providing vocals for the track Panic in the Sky, as well as Mega Ran on the track for the credits. Lastly, there's these two low-key rappers, I don't know if you've heard of them, Ghostface Killah and Raekwon performing Shredder's theme. The entire soundtrack is amazing, and I don't hate a single track. If I had to pick a few favorites that didn't have any lyrics just to be fair, I'd have to go with Dinosaur Stampede, A Few Screws Loose, and the aforementioned Big Apple 3 PM. For the classic feel, you know? It goes without saying that this is a great game. Not only that, but this is up there with Turtles in Time as one of the best turtle games we've ever gotten. It only took a couple of decades, but I digress. It's $25, so it's an amazing buy if you're looking for a really good multiplayer game, so I can't recommend it enough. Even if you aren't the biggest Turtle fan, Shredder's Revenge is pretty much made for everyone who's enjoyed them, or beat 'em ups, to any degree. You practically cannot be disappointed with the level of love in this package. Lastly, I want to give a shout out to all my friends who got together and helped me record all of this footage, so shout out to Migsby JoeStar, Kamithediviinegamer, Crysztie, GunnGear, and my boy Izzy, because I much rather would have recorded gameplay for this as a group instead of doing it solo. I'll leave links to all the applicable content creator profiles in the description, so make sure you show my people some love. Meanwhile, I'm already setting up for something else in the works while you maybe do that, so you'll probably see me sooner than later. But I'm gonna buckle down and finish that up and, you know, focus. But I'll catch you guys later. Take care.